What's going on, guys? Candor Chris here, and we're going to be talking about the best class setups for the 1.24 update in Black Ops 4. So before the video starts, if you guys are new to the channel, please subscribe. I mean, I know I'm saying like please subscribe. You guys don't have to obviously subscribe, but I just want you guys to know that 95% of the people that watch my videos are not subscribed. So even if one of you clicks that subscribe button, it'd really mean the world to me. I also shout out one subscriber who comments down in the comment section below that they've liked the video. Just want to mention in this video, you're going to see 5 class setups from SMGs, 4 from ARs, and 1 from a tactical rifle. The first being on your screen is the KN57. I run stim shot. The reason why I run stim shot is because I like to get in people's faces and heal as fast as possible. Then I'm going to run scavenger. The reason for scavenger is pretty simple. The gun doesn't have that much ammo because I'm not running TAC 5 boost. So I'm not having the ammo packs, and I'm also running Ghost. I run Ghost because I am personally playing solo, like I've mentioned. You could run Team Link if you have a 5-man or playing in a 6-man party, but I run Ghost. So you could swap that perk if you want, but most of the perks are the same just because perks aren't that important in core. Then you're going to have Primary Gunfighter 1 and 2 for the wild cards, and then this is where you get into the bread and butter with the KN57. The first thing I'm going to talk about is stock, then extended mags, then rapid fire and grip. Rapid fire is very important on this gun. Now, one of the main reasons why it's important is because it doesn't shoot as fast as most of the ARs. You can tell because if you play the game, you notice that the KN doesn't shoot as fast and it kind of lacks in that department. Then we're going to run grip because it doesn't have the greatest accuracy because it is one of the stronger ARs. We're going to run stock. You could switch off for quick draw if you know you're running around with it, but stock is the best option, mainly because stock just makes it mobile while you're aiming down the sight, so it's just better if you're aiming down and being stationary with the gun. But if you want to run around with it, you can run quick draw. And then extended mags. Extended mags is pretty simple because you know you're gaining extra 20 bullets I think to the clip, and that helps with rapid fire because you're going to be losing a lot of ammo and bullets faster because you're going to be shooting them faster. So that's it for the KN57. Now let's go on to the second gun, which is the Rampart. The Rampart, one of my favorite guns in Call of Duty, just based off of how much damage. It's just purely a damage machine. So I'm going to run stim shots. Stim shots normally what I run. If you're running hardcore, you can run something else. If you are running TAC 5 boost, you don't need to run scavenger, but I personally don't run TAC 5. I like to use recon. So you're going to have ghost, scavenger, and cold-blooded. Cold-blooded is for the streaks, just in case someone does get streaks on you, because streaks are relatively easy to get. Now we're going to talk about the reflex sight. The reflex sight is really important on the Rampart in my opinion, because I do not like the iron sights. I think the reflex sight is the best option for this gun. You could take the reflex sight off, but I personally like it. Now I'm going to run high caliber 1 and high caliber 2. Reason why I run high caliber 1 and 2 is because this gun does a massive amount of damage with it. If you look at high caliber 2, it says it does damage to the upper chest or more damage to the upper chest, and then for high caliber 1 is it does extra damage to the head. So essentially you're getting a 3-bullet kill on the AR if you're hitting your shots, and I run grip. Now you could run whatever you want. You don't have to run grip, but you know, if you trust your accuracy, you can run something else, but I personally like grip. You could run FMJ or long barrel. Long barrel I would add maybe, you know, if you're on a bigger map like Icebreaker or Jungle. Those maps being that big, it's going to reduce the damage that your high caliber 1 and 2 are doing, so you could switch off grip for long barrel. But honestly, to each his own. It depends on if you have a good shot or not. Personally, I like to run grip because I don't really like playing the bigger maps. That's that for the Rampart. Now let's talk about the ICR. The ICR, a fan favorite and one of my favorite guns in Call of Duty. So the ICR is pretty good in Black Ops 4. It's probably one of the better ARs in the game. Personally, I like to run the reflex sight because I think that the iron sights aren't that great for the gun, but honestly, quick draw, grip 1 and grip 2 are probably the most important attachments. Grip 1 is pretty simple, but grip 2, if you actually read, it's minimize recoil while aiming before firing, so it reduces flinch also while aiming down, so it gives you toughness, and quick draw. Now the reason why I want to talk about that is because grip 2 is essentially toughness from most of the other Call of Duties. Toughness helps reduce flinching while aiming down sights, so if you're going to be stationary with this gun, it gives you the benefit of being able to outshoot someone because their gun's going to be jumping while yours isn't, giving you the highest amount of accuracy possible. Now I run scavenger. I run scavenger on most of these classes because this is pub stomping classes, and I don't run the TAC 5. Like I said, I run recon, and I think recon's the better option. And then I like to run Team Link and Ghost. Now you might be wondering, why am I running 2 red perks? Team Link is essentially your own personal UAV for your teammates, and what ends up happening is if they see someone, you're going to be able to aim down sights before that person sees you because you know they're coming. And what's going to end up happening is you're going to win the gunfight 9 times out of 10 because the ICR is very hard to get outgunned with when you're aiming down the sights. Essentially, if you're L triggering or if you're L2 triggering, you're never going to lose a gunfight with this gun just based off of the damage and the fire rate. And then your wild cards are going to be perk 3 greed and primary gunfighter. So that's that with the ICR. The next gun we're going to be talking about is the Maddox, a competitive staple for Black Ops 4. The Maddox to me me is a hybrid between the AR and SMG because of the mobility it has and the range it has. Now, personally, I don't like the iron sights. The iron sights are absolute trash, but this is ripped from essentially pro players. In any pro game you see, they're going to have double quick draw, they're going to have the ELO sight, and they're going to have the stock. Now, I run the ELO sight because it's the smaller sight, and the reflex sight just doesn't kind of fit with it. It kind of jumps a little bit more, so the ELO sight is the better option. And then you're going to have quick draw 1 and quick draw 2. Now, people might not wonder, but quick draw 2 is actually, it's maximized aiming speed and increases peripheral vision while looking down sights, and the multi-zoom optics do not gain peripheral vision. So what ends up happening is you can kind of peek, peek out of vision, and you can scope and just keep clicking your L2 trigger, and it essentially snaps onto the person. And then you're going to run stock, and stock is essentially the same thing, where it's improved movement speed while aiming. So either you're aiming or you're not aiming, you're going to have your best opportunity against most ARs and most SMGs to outgun them. So let's say you're up close, you're going to be able to scope in fast enough to actually outgun those SMGs, and if you're at range with a nice shot, you're going to be able to outgun those ARs at range. Now, I run stim shot because, like I said, I think it's your best bet. You could run ComSec if you're in a 5-man, and then I run Scavenger, Cold-Blooded, and Ghost, as well as running Primary Gunfighter 1. Now, your perks don't really matter with the Maddox. The only thing you really need is that Scavenger for ammo, and then that's really it. The next class setup we're going to be talking about is the Swordfish, my personal favorite tactical rifle. The Swordfish, in my opinion, is the best tactical rifle. I know the M16 recently came out, but it is nowhere near as good as the Swordfish. Now, I want to talk about something. I call this the one burst god gun because if you have pentaburst on it, which is the operator mod I'm going to show you in a second, you rarely don't get one burst. Like 80% chance you're going to get one burst with this class setup. So what you want to do is you have to be level 15 with this gun to get the operator mod called pentaburst. Now, what pentaburst ends up doing is it adds an extra bullet to the clip. So instead of shooting 4 bullets, you're going to shoot 5 bullets, which is going to do, if you do the math, it's about 25% extra damage if you hit that extra bullet. So statistically, it actually gives you a higher probability of getting a one burst. Now, I run long barrel because at range, if they're away from you, you're going to drop damage, and I think long barrel is your best bet to still one burst at range. And FMJ. FMJ is important because if they're running the armor instead of the stim shot, you could still one burst them because it destroys armor. And then we're going to run high caliber. Now, you can only run high caliber 1 on this gun because if you could run high caliber 2, you would just be playing in swordfish lobbies. So what it ends up doing is, let's say you shoot a burst, like your 5-round burst at range, and you only hit 2 of the bullets. If you end up hitting them in the head, it actually does double the damage, or 50% extra damage, so you have a higher probability of getting a one burst. Now, your wild cards are going to be Primary Gunfighter 1 as well as Primary Operator mod. Now, I'm actually going to be talking about one more AR, and then we're going to talk about 4 of the best SMGs out of the 5 or 6 that are in the class. So let's talk about the Grav, the last AR we're going to be talking about, aka the Galil. So the reason why I have the Grav here is because I think it's one of the stronger ARs in the game. The perks aren't that important. We're going to run Ghost, Scavenger, Primary Gunfighter 1 and 2. So we're going to talk about Long Barrel. Now, if you're running on a smaller map, you could switch off Long Barrel for stock. Personally, let's say we're running Nuketown. We'll run stock instead, just for the hell of it, right? And then we're going to end up running Reflex Sight. Reflex Sight, in my opinion, is very important. You could take off the Reflex Sight if you like the iron sights of it, and you could run maybe a stim shot. But I personally like it. I think it's your best bet. You can run Grip, Quick Draw, and Grip 2. Now, Grip 2 is very important to me, but I just want to get back to this Reflex Sight thing. You could take it off and run any of these if you want. It's just your preference, but I personally like the Reflex Sight. So let's talk about the reason I have Double Grip and Quick Draw. Now, the reason for Double Grip and Quick Draw is the Double Grip gives you a minimized recoil while aiming before firing and reduces flinch while aiming down the sight. So what ends up happening is if you're jumping with the, if you're jumping with the gun, your aim will actually be off-centered. So what Grip 2 does is it stops that. So it actually helps you aim in faster and aim in better. All in all, giving you a better shot. So that's that for the Grav. Now let's talk about some of the SMGs. Let's talk about the big bad Cordite. Now the Cordite's one of my favorite SMGs, based off of just how it can kind of be a ranged SMG and it also fires relatively fast. I think that it's one of the better looking SMGs as well. Especially with diamond camo, if you look, it just looks really clean. I'm just going to go over it. Stim Shot, Ghost, and Scavenger, and then Primary Gunfighter 1 and 2. Most of the SMGs that you're going to be looking at are mainly attachment based because SMGs really need attachments to work well. You're going to run Grip, FMJ, Long Barrel, and Extended Mags. You could run Rapid Fire, but I like FMJ just in case someone's running the armor. Extended Mags is just because it's going to have a massive clip and it's going to help you out, just so you don't have to reload as much. And Scavenger is going to help with that too, so you're never going to run out of ammo. So that's that for the Cordite. Now let's talk about the SOG 9mm. Ah, the SOG 9mm, the smallest of the SMGs, yet the strongest of the SMGs. So the SOG 9mm is probably the most used gun in Call of Duty. It just causes constant pressure on the map. So if you have a SOG player on your team, you're constantly creating openings for your team. You're honestly always in the enemy spawn, and it just really helps you out. So you're running Team Link for that reason, and the reason why is because you actually have a little mini map around you, and it helps your team out. So you're going to end up having your teammates look at the mini map more, and they're going to see that, oh, there's people on you, and they're going to try to help you out, and you're going to be able to, help your team out. And then also the stim shot, because like I said, you're going to try to create as much pressure as possible, meaning you're going to get shot at. So you want to heal as much as possible. You want to heal as fast as possible. Now you're going to run fast mags 1, 2, and quick draw and grip. Now the reason for quick draw and grip is pretty, self-explanatory, but we're going to talk about fast mags 1 and 2. Now the reason for fast mags 2 is because it automatically reloads your weapon. So you're not going to get caught in the animation as much. So that means you're going to have the best opportunity to get kills and stay alive as much as possible. So grip and quick draw are pretty simple. Just, grip helps you have better accuracy when you're shooting your weapon. So that's done with the SOG. So now let's talk about one of my favorite guns in Call of Duty, the GKS. The GKS. Probably my favorite gun in almost any Call of Duty. It kind of reminds me of the Vector from Call of Duty Ghosts, and the only reason why is because it has AR range as an SMG. It probably doesn't do enough damage like the Vector did, but it does with these perks and attachments, mainly just the attachments, not really the perks. So the first thing is we're going to talk about acoustic sensor. I'm just going to throw this on. You could throw any of those 5 on, but I throw acoustic sensor on because, it just helps me kind of get the feeling of the minimap. Then we're going to have Ghost and Scavenger, but mainly it's about the attachments, not really about the perks with this gun. The reason why the attachments are so beautiful is because look at the gun. It kind of reminds me of the Peacekeeper, right? Now the reason why it looks like the Peacekeeper is because of these attachments. It actually makes it more of an AR, and if you look closely, it has the best range and the best accuracy of all 5 normal SMGs. Not talking about any of the extra SMGs, just the normal, no mastercraft, nothing like that. So it has the highest accuracy and the highest range. Now we're going to talk about grip 1, grip 2, long barrel 1, and long barrel 2. Now we all know what grip does, but grip 2 minimizes recoil while aiming before firing, reduces flinch while aiming down the sight. So essentially you're having the perk toughness on, which helps you in almost any gunfight because their screen's going to be jumping if you're getting hit markers, while your screen is going to be staying steady and you're going to have better accuracy than them. Then we're going to have long barrel 1 and long barrel 2. Long barrel 1 is pretty simple. It increases damage fall off on range, and then this one says it maximizes the damage fall off at range, meaning that you're essentially going to have no drop whatsoever, and it's going to do the same amount of damage at range. So you're going to be getting that damage at range just like an AR would, and no damage is falling off whatsoever, which makes it essentially having AR damage at range as an SMG, which is absolutely nuts. Now we're going to be talking about probably the fastest firing gun in any Call of Duty whatsoever, including or excluding the Viper from Black Ops 3. So the Spitfire actually is essentially the Viper from Black Ops 3. It has the same model and make, and it shoots just as fast, but the Viper, in my opinion, was one of the best guns in Black Ops 3. This, not so much. It's not that great in Black Ops 4. Yet with these attachments, the gun could be very good. So you can see my attachments right there. We're just going to go over the perks. I'm going to run Stim Shot, Scavenger, and Team Link. Team Link, I think, is better for SMG players, like I've mentioned earlier on in the video. I think that when you get into gunfights with the Spitfire or any SMG, I think it just helps your team. You're creating pressure and you're in the spawns and you're trying to help out. I'm going to run Stim Shot because you're going to have to, heal as much as possible because it's SMG and you're in the, you're kind of in the trenches. You're going after it. I'm running Fast Mags, Double Laser Sight, and Quick Draw. Now, something you guys might not know about Double Laser Sight. Double Laser Sight, so if you run Laser Sight 2, it maximizes the hipfire accuracy, and there's 0 hipfire penalty while moving. So what that means is, if you're moving, your crosshairs get higher or larger, and when you hipfire, they kind of just go, your bullets go everywhere. With this, your bullets kind of stay straight and your crosshairs kind of stay the same, so you're not having that, that jump when you shoot. So let's say you're shooting with this gun, you could shoot first then aim, which is better than aiming and then shooting because you're getting the first bullet off before them. What I mean is, like, so let's say you scope in with L2, right? And then that's normally how it works, right? You scope in then shoot. With this gun, since you can hip fire first, you can hip fire then shoot. So you can press R2 and then L2, and you have 0 repercussions on the accuracy because you have Laser Sight 2. So essentially you can hip fire then shoot, and your hip fire will hit, and you can weaken them before they even kind of can scope in and shoot you. So I want to know what you guys think of these class setups and what your favorite class setup is after the 1.24 update, if you guys have even played yet. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. my name's Kando. I love you guys, and I'm out. Peace.